Welcome to News9 Mediaverse, and you are watching On Point. 3 people were shot down in Manipur's Thoubal district on the 1st of January. Gunmen also injured locals. Subsequently, security forces were targeted by RPGs. The insurgents in Manipur's Moreh district on Jan 2nd. The attack resulted in severe injuries to 7 security personnel. CM Biren Singh has appealed to the people of Manipur for peace. He has promised swift action. He has hinted about the foreign mercenaries, and he has said the culprits would be caught soon. But what is the issue? Multiple events have taken, multiple incidents have folded. Is it primarily the foreign hand mercenaries? Is there an issue of extortion, which Brijesh, that was raised by the DGP long time ago? That is it still happening, or is it because of the fact that the weapons are freely circulating in the state and they have not come back? So the situation is pretty tense. In the sense that something which people would say that normalcy had returned in Manipur by and large, despite division of people in 2 different areas, it's peaceful, People can do their job and come back in their respective areas. So that routine has been broken. Chief Minister has spoken about it. Let me play out his bite. Then we'll go straight to the guests, and I'll take you through some of the graphic points which I will be playing it through my show. But let us listen in to the Chief Minister of Manipur, Biren Singh.
Terrorists, cookie terrorists, sophisticated weapons, even we have seen some of the videos leaked from the militant terrorist group. Sophisticated weapons in where the government, where with central forces and the SS forces, we are countering them, and now search operation and the combating operation is widely going on. Reinforcement has been sent, and we are having some doubt of involvement of foreign mercenary from the Myanmar side, and it is our commitment to the people of the state and the people of the India. We will not succumb to this kind of threat and pressures. We will take necessary possible measures to counter such terrorist activities.
So is there any casualty from the on side?
Right now we cannot say, but earlier, 2 days back, 2 were killed and 4 were injured. Not fully confirmed, but reliable sources. We have been reported, and from many sources, the mercenary from the Myanmar side, KNA-B, have involvement of their involvement. Their involvement is highly, possible. Highly possible.
Don't you think that it's a high time for the state government to approach the central government?
No, we are in touch with the ministry, the central government. Whatever doing and whatever going on in the Moreh and the other part of the state area is with the consent and with the approval of the central government, and the operation is going on jointly with state security force and the central forces.
On this debate, I am joined by my input editor, Brijesh Pandey. I am also joined by Suhas Chakma, Director, Rights and Risk Analysis Group. Thank you so much. I am also joined by Group Captain B. Nandakumar Sharma, spokesperson of the Delhi Meitei Coordinating Committee. I am also joined by Dr. Thoubal Haukep, Assistant Professor, Center for the Study of Law and Governance in JNU, and Major General Aswani Sivach. First to you, what explains this sudden spurt of violence in last 72 hours, Brijesh? Are they one and the same thing, or different things happening simultaneously?
Well, I think, Kartikeya, when you introduced the topic for the day, discussion for the day, you spoke about law and order, you spoke about various things, of why exactly we are seeing this pattern of violence which we are witnessing right now. There are a lot of factors which are contributing to it. The violence which we witnessed, say, a couple of months back, for like 4-5 months back, that pattern has been broken. But has the state government reached a situation where they can say for sure that they are completely aware of, or they have the law and order situation in their grip? What about the the weapons which have been looted and not been returned? What about the foreign mercenaries, as the government of Manipur is claiming, but they still have access, or they still have a role to play in the chaos that is unfolding in the state of Manipur, the extortion angle. So there's so many angles which are involved in this particular violence, which is sporadic, but it has not died down. We may say for narrative's sake, we may say that it is not what it used to be 2 months back. I agree. But the fact is that has violence died down? No, it has not.
Okay,
and also the lack of trust, as people say about the lack of trust, say a Moreh will have in Manipur, police commandos and other places have, as far as Assam Rifles is concerned, that trust hasn't actually, there's been not much of a deficit in that trust. And I think that is also adding to be a big problem.
Let me go across to Mr. Chakma. Sir, are we talking about one thing? Are we talking about multiple things here?
Well, I think it's one particular thing. The fact remains that you had lost so many arms and ammunitions. 5,000 to 6,000 arms and ammunitions, about 500,000 to 600,000 ammunitions. I mean, where are these ammunitions? Obviously, it has fallen into the hands of the individuals. If they had fallen into the hands of the insurgent groups, then you are quite sure that insurgent groups have certain modicum of, command structure. But in the case of Manipur, everybody has been armed to the teeth. So any persons, I haven't investigated it, so there might be foreign mercenaries. But for a minute, if there are no foreign mercenaries, you could actually imagine that 3-4 guys can get together for the purpose of extortion. Then they can actually get together and go and threaten the minority communities. In this particular case, if you look at it, the people who were targeted and killed, they belong to a minority group. So today it's on the minority groups, but these groups have life on their own, and no measures has been taken to recover the arms and ammunitions. So it's very easy for the chief minister to say that they are possibly involved in the foreign mercenaries. But the first question which I'll have in my mind is, why would the groups all the way come from Myanmar side and come to the Thoubal district and kill somebody? I think the first suspicion should be on the local individuals who have actually looted the arms or ammunitions. But that is not something which the state government will ever accept, because the moment you raise this issue of the local individuals, I'm not even talking about the organized insurgent groups, then obviously the question would come, who was responsible for it, what kind of accountability you had, and whether the CBI had registered the FIRs, and whether the CBI was able to interrogate the police officials who have lost so many arms and ammunition. If we are to talk about accountability, obviously you have to ensure that those who have lost, or from whom the weapons you have seized or stolen or handed over, they are subjected to interrogation by the CBI. Has any inquiry started with respect to the loss of so many arms and ammunition? Okay. Obviously not. So that's, I think, my preliminary suspicion would be, I don't think any organized group might be involved. But in this kind of a situation where everybody is armed to the teeth, the point of fingers will be with the individuals, the renegades kind of thing.
Okay, Dr. Haukip, your opening comments or the spate or the number of episodes of violence which have taken place in the last 72 hours. Are we talking about, and I'm asking the same question, are we talking about the same thing, or there are multiple issues involved? For example, foreign fighters. Then there were reports which came out in newspaper of the extortion attempt. But the fact of the matter is, it leads to injury and casualty. Then RPG being used against the the police forces. So what is happening? Why is there a spurt?
Kartikeya, regarding Moreh, as far as I'm concerned, there is no problem at all unless the police commandos are loitering around and harassing the civilians in Moreh. The problem started when, of course, let me go back to June 26 last year, when after meeting with the Home Minister, Biren Singh came back to Imphal and meet the press and declare that the center will be taking care of the hills, while he will be responsible for the law and order situation in the valley. But he has not kept this promise or this discussion into account. And in the last 2-3 months, he has been trying to deploy the police commandos in Thoubal district, particularly in Moreh. Why he is so keen on controlling this border town when you needed is a calm, a peace, and a kind of situation where people could feel the peace around them. But you deploy this commandos with force through helicopters in this border town and agitate the locals who had been so far. This district was calm for more than 6 months, and the violence started in Moreh because these police commandos and large number of state forces were deployed earlier, which was looked after by the Assam Rifles and other paramilitary forces. So we have to look in that way. Right now, there is an informal agreement that any kind of operation or it has to be a combing jointly done by the Assam Rifles or Central Forces along with the police. But in the last few days, the police commandos, they started doing it alone and causing a lot of trouble among the residents in Moreh. That's the trigger point of a problem in Moreh. I could frankly say that these police commandos right now should be, taken back to Imphal Valley and control the situation where you have huge law and order situation in Imphal Valley, where you have lootings, where you have ransom, you have different sorts of law and order problem in the valley. They should be deployed in new in corner of this to control the situation. And to once again look into the situation.
But Dr. Haukim, isn't it, Dr. Haukim, isn't it within the remit of the Chief Minister? Doctor, I got your point, Dr. Haukim. Dr. Haukim, isn't it within the remit of the Chief Minister to send forces wherever he wants to? It's legal.
Definitely, the Chief Minister can send it, but in order to ensure peace for the coming months or even a year, he has to limit his power also, right? He has agreed with Amit Shah, the Home Minister, that he will be looking after the law and order situation in Imphal Valley, while the Central Forces, the Home Minister, would be looking after the situation in the hill areas. So there was the agreement on June 25th, and he declared it to the public on June 26th. So he should abide by the agreement and what he has, informed the people. So, and if he has maintained that, I think Moreh and Thoubal district as a whole would remain calm and no law and order problem would emerge. And the allegation of this foreign infiltrators, I think it has been quiet on for some time, since the last week of May, because when there was a problem in Shugunu area, there were claims even by my colleagues in JNU that this so-called foreign infiltrators coming and taking this area. I don't know. I was asking for the evidence, but they were unable to provide the evidence. Where is the video? Where is the picture? Where is the weapons or whatever? So there's no evidence that there are involvement of foreign mercenaries. And the Chief Minister himself was saying in that video clip that there is possibility only, right? There's no concrete evidence that foreign mercenaries are involved in this. There are various volunteers who have been organized all around in the last 7 months to defend themselves. So they have been releasing press notes and others talking about how all these commandos and others should be removed to restore peace in Moreh. So while on the other hand you have the radical groups roaming around in the trucks and others with RPGs, automatic rifles, you have a lot of video evidences about
Dr. Haukim, I just need to stop you because, I also need... Dr. Haukim, I'll come to you. Dr. Haukim, I'll come to you because General Sivach is waiting for me. I have not gone to Group Captain Nandakumar Sharma. I'll come to both of you. Thank you very much for waiting very patiently. It's just time for a very small break and then I'll come to you, General Sivach, immediately after the break.
This was intended to be a terrorist spectacular without precedent.
The plan was to bomb 2 Air India passenger aircrafts simultaneously.
There was a loud explosion and the whole plane just vanished.
police dropped the ball, the intelligence officers dropped the ball, and the politicians dropped the ball.
It was a conspiracy that destroyed my life. It destroyed 331 lives.
News is now content. Just stream it. Download the world's first news OTT, News9 Plus, ahead of the curve.
General Safayat, I'll come straight to you. Sir, the Chief Minister again has spoken about foreign mercenary. Is it a real threat? Or as the political opponents have been saying, it's just he's just raising the boogie of foreign mercenaries because nothing else can be said. But then for a CM to say it again and again merits a conversation. He wouldn't say it like that.
Kartikeya, no doubt about it. If the Chief Minister is saying this, he is also aware about the intelligence which is being shared by the intelligence agencies at the central government. And there seems to be a multiple reason as to why the violence is not been curtailed or why it is not being stopped. As we were discussing, first and foremost is we have been telling time and again, until and unless these weapons do not come back, thinking that situation become normal, this is asking for too much. This is our fault line that almost 5,000 to 7,000 weapons are at large in the society, whether they were looted from police armory or few of them has also come from Myanmar to Manipur. The question comes is that once you are armed to the teeth, the way it been spoken by my co-panelists, then it becomes availability to even the groups which are within Manipur, that they start doing this gang war, start looting, extortion become rule of the day. So they are exploiting those fault lines which are available in Manipur, and that is a cause of concern. And we have not able to make any dent of getting these weapons back. There were only few weapons which were could be taken back from society. Rest, no one has returned voluntarily. What is the mechanism? That's what we were telling cordon and search. And also you have to now ensure combing operation to be done. Weapons have to come back. Whatever you may say, the strategy has to be evolved. How do we get back these weapons? Until these weapons do not come back from society, thinking that the peace will prevail is a far-fetched idea. Now, as far as Myanmar is concerned, Myanmar situation itself is very bad. As on today, the military junta is on a back foot there. There are a number of militant groups which have now joined together and have attacked number of posts, especially the northern parts of Myanmar. And number of Myanmar soldiers have also crossed over to India in the Mizoram, maybe in Manipur also. So the situation is very volatile in our border area of Manipur. And that is also creating a problem. And in case some elements, the machineries coming from Myanmar to Manipur cannot be ruled out. And as the Chief Minister is saying, I'm sure he would have been informed by the intelligence agency like CBI and NIA or IB that such a situation is prevailing in Myanmar. Now, another major issue coming is why the peace is not able to come in Manipur for so long. You find some or the other development take place and again the violence comes. My point is that you have to have a complete study. There is no denying the fact that between cookies and Mathis and certain, law-abiding forces, it is not coming up. People doubt each other. People suspect even the police forces, and due to which you find that the place which seemingly looks to be quiet, all of a sudden the violence comes in. And once the violence comes in, you go back to square one. I suppose your strategy has to change now. You have to ensure that one is that whatever you may do, be very harsh and strict on those miscreants which are still having weapons. The second thing is, now after analyzing complete Manipur, make it in number pockets, which force has to be deployed where, as per the situation, and then try to control. What we are doing is, one area is peaceful, the another is volatile, you shift your force there, all of a sudden the other area becomes volatile. No, that sort of thing is not going to work. You carry out a proper analysis of the complete Manipur, whether it is a hill area or in valley, and then break it into segments and then make a force available to all the segment and let the coordination take place between all this. As we kept on telling unified command, but if the unified command is under a police officer, so it be. But is the coordination being done? Why military knowledge says, to me it doesn't look like that. Everyone is working in isolation. We are not able to achieve result. We are reacting to the situation. We are not proactive. That is the cause of concern.
I think that's very. I think you have put up a very powerful sort of a political argument, Mr. Nandu Kumar. Is that the reason that there's a lack of coordination? The reaction is taking place. The state in itself is not an actor for creating a change. It is reacting to things around. Is that the reason, as General Sivach put it?
Yes, I would agree with General Sivach. There is a lack of political will and as well as a lack of coordination among the security agencies. So definitely this factor is one of the major factors for not solving the present crisis in Manipur. However, I would like to bring out the present today's debate regarding the injury of our Manipur police and BSF personnel. It is very unfortunate and it should not have happened, as I mentioned earlier. And in this regard, my co-panelist Hawkib has said the blame is to the CM, where he has mentioned that Amit Shah, when he met CM met Amit Shah, the hills are to be looked after by the central and the very wide state, that is CM. It's absolutely incorrect. It's non-constitutional. The law and order is the subject matter of the state, and the CM has all the right to exercise his power on the state machineries, especially the forces, to deploy wherever he wants. And also, the attack to the Manipur police and the BSF is here, I suppose, is done by the armed forces because they are against deploying of the Manipur police especially. So, and the CM also mentioned that these attacks are done by highly sophisticated weapons, including the RGPs. So it has very less relevance with the recovery of the looted arms. Though, of course, the looted weapons are to be recovered, but the present attacks to the Manipur police and the BSF by the armed cookies are by the sophisticated weapons which are supplied from especially the foreign countries through Myanmar. So involvement of the foreign hand has been, we have been discussing in many of the debates in your channel. So there is no ambiguity about involvement of the foreign hands. So this is to be checked. And also we have discussed many times, many truckloads of weapons coming to Myanmar as per the intelligence. So CM is much aware about the intelligence reports. He has all the information available to him.
But Mr. Nandakumar, there is another issue at hand. I completely agree with you that a lot of people have used the camouflaged police dress, or they would camouflage themselves as men of security, and then they have done what they wanted to do in terms of serving their own interest. This is something very important, as General Sivaj very rightly pointed out. They were able to do so because you have loose weapons.
Yeah, absolutely. This is one of the possible reasons, because whenever there is a conflict, there are armed groups. They will try to take advantage of all the situations. This would have happened, and they would have come into the knowledge of the police and the security personnel, and they would have taken certain actions. However, as you said correctly, sense of the Manipur police and the other security forces, such things are not able to solve. So it shows that there is a lack of political will by the center as well as the state government because of the lack of coordination among the central forces and the Manipur police, because the hilly areas are still armed forces power exists. So if they wish, they can, as you may not like, once again I will come to the suspension of operation agreement. As long as suspension of operation agreement is there, army or central forces cannot do anything, so crisis cannot be controlled. And also Mr. Hawkib said that hills and the valleys are to be controlled separately by the CM and the central government. So I would like to mention here the difference between the altitude of Imphal, Moreh and Sursanpur. Imphal has an altitude of 2,579 feet. I just Google it now. And the Sursanpur has about 2,750 feet. So there's hardly any difference in altitude. So definition of the hills in Manipur has to be changed. because Manipur itself is a hill state as per the Constitution of India, whereas other states in central like MPs and other places, it's places where hills are defined. However, in case of Manipur, the complete state is a hill. So we should not define for the convenience of the certain things
so
as
I
a
just
hill
need to
and
stop
a
you
valley.
here. Okay, fair point. Brijesh, you wanted to comment?
I think, you know, one of the key things which many are skirting and not coming directly to it is also the fact that, which is discussed, but as one of the many points and not as one of the key point is availability of guns. You know, there has been report which has come out in the last 15 days and all, and it was also reported that there were certain dormant groups, you know, which were lying dormant because there was not that kind of access to arms or ammunition was there. Now most of those groups have become active, and I'm not saying that they are spread all across the Manipur, but in their pocket of strength they have started doing extortion, wearing camouflage dresses, fatigues, and carrying out these kind of operation, raising suspicion and genuine suspicion in the mind of the villagers, whether they are police commandos or they are imposters, because if anybody does that to us, we're living in Delhi, it would take us time to figure out whether he's genuine or not. The problem is that we are hearing about 50 things or strategies of how do we go ahead in ensuring this thing. The only two vital important things of which we are not hearing at all is A, what is the strategy which the government is formulating to capture majority of the guns which are still out in the open, and B, what about the political process? Are we going to see any start to the political process, or
Perfect.
we keep on these,
Perfect. I think these are the two questions reserved for the the second part of the debate. But it's time for a short break. But then this question will be put to all our subject matter experts. One, how come the political process has not started, initiated? What has happened to it? The peace committee or the reconciliation committee. That's one. Whatever has happened to them. And the second is, what has been done to get the guns back? Time for a short break.
Pakistani spy agency ISI's sinister plan to target India. Training women to honey trap top civil and military officials. Counter honey trapping ops initiated by India. But gullible victims still caught in the web. Top military intelligence experts break down the web of deception. Colonel Hani Bakshi explains the phenomena of honey trap.
जहाँ पे भी आपको उनको लगेगा कि there is a person who is susceptible to women, who's making a lot of women friends on the social media. That is where they will make a spoof account and then start luring the person.
Colonel Pavitran Rajan decodes the psyche of the victim and the predator.
But when you go up the chain, no one enforces it to people at the top. That disciplinary regime and the security regime is not enforced at the top. And they usually have a public profile where it is much more easier to approach that person.
A News9 special on how modern technology has added teeth to the ancient spying tactic.
Our story takes you inside Pakistan's honey trap machine.
This and more, streaming on world's first news OTT, News9 Plus. Download now.
Currently, the industry is facing a lot of challenges as far as demand is concerned. Basically, the US markets has slowed down because of high inflation.
So obviously, diamonds being a dream product, something which doesn't have a utility value or is seen as a luxury. So that obviously goes off your shopping list. That's the first item that will go off your shopping list, especially in recessionary trends.
The lab-grown diamonds are not mined, and they do away with the entire mining. So they save up on all the environmental damage that is associated with mining, and of course, the mining cost, which is why they're even more affordable.
People that is impacted by all these recessions are the artisans, are the people who work in this industry. right? But I think lab-grown diamond has allowed them to actually use their skills in the same product.
This and more streaming on world's first news OTT, News9 Plus. Download now.
So as Brijesh said, two things, which are going unanswered. One, what's happening to the political process, and second, what's the timeline for getting the guns back? Suhas, is that the real issue? Missing woods for the trees. There's a lack of political process in place, and secondly, there is no road plan. And third, as as General Sivaj has said, that the state seems to be reacting, not acting, and creating its own sequence of action.
No, I completely agree with General Sivaj, but I will only say that there had not been any political process in the last 8 months, and I do not even see any political process being initiated, simply because the positions of both sides are so complex that you actually cannot find a solution. Therefore, if you start that process, it's going to be very, very difficult. And across the Northeast, when you try to resolve problems where there are contesting claims, they are not easy to deal with. I mean, I think even in a non-conflict situation like in Assam, you did not have an agreement on the sharing.
But Suhas, at least one can do something to get the guns back.
No, absolutely. But on the guns issue also, I mean, in fact, when I was talking that there is no possibly one has to see whether there is an involvement of foreign mercenaries. The killings which took place in Thoubal district, there is no reason for the troops or the groups from the Myanmar to come all the way to Thoubal, which is next to the, in Thoubal. Then, with respect to the killings in Moreh district and etc., of course, because it's bothering Myanmar, you could always make the allegation. But I think with respect to, as I said, the recovery of the arms, the state has never been interested to find out the truth. And many actually have alleged that, you cannot afford to lose that many arms and weapons. So if you start the process of recovery, how do you recover? You have to either initiate the formal process of registering the FIR, or you have to conduct, search and combat operations, which you are not able to do that. So state faces a situation where actually the suspicion runs through the system. So the reasons why people are opposing the deployment of the troops in Moreh is exactly, if you see the debate between the two gentlemen, Mr. Hawkip and Mr. Nandakumar. If this is the level of suspicion which we have, because nobody is willing to give an inch, then you can imagine what happens. So that's why Manipur is a situation where the central government possibly believes that, it will have a natural solution, just like they had earlier in 1993-94, when the riots between the Nagas and Kukis took place, and down the line, over the years, it was resolved. People were tired, they got, fatigue kind of thing. But this situation is different for two reasons. One, so many arms and ammunition have been given, and it's very easy. One arms and ammunition, you can buy 10 or 20 over a period of time if you extort. And extortion has been a business across the Northeast. So that is going to have a life on its own, and I don't think Manipur is going to come out of it. So you see a different type of urban insurgency, different type of violence in Imphal Valley. Even if you were to resolve the disputes with the hills, I don't think you are going to resolve the problems of availability of so many arms. And even if you do combat operation, coordinate search operation, I can say that you cannot recover any single arm, because nobody is going to keep the arms, in their houses. It's, topography is completely different. So there is no way actually practically you can recover the arms. It's one thing to say.
Are you saying that it's impossible to recover arms?
Absolutely impossible. You cannot
impossible. You cannot do that.
Impossible.
Then how? Then what do you do with those circulating arms? These are not pistols. Even AK-47s had been taken away. The Glocks had been taken away. Real heavy-duty stuff was taken away in 2 big raids.
So that's what I'm saying. I think Manipur, unfortunately, has to go through some kind of a typhoid. They will suffer from it, and I do not see. the problem in Manipur is that when people have so much access to arms and ammunition, it creates a symbiotic relationship with other agencies and you cannot resolve it. I mean, I do not see, if you ask me, if in the last 8 months, 9 months, they have not taken a single operation to recover
I think you have
any
made a
arms.
point. You are saying that you are saying it's impossible to recover the arms like that. Dr. Hawkip, do you feel so, that it's impossible to recover the arms?
You know, it's been almost 8 months now that Manipur has been under this violence, and the looted arms by now would have been scattered around, and people would also have sold, you know, in the want of certain financial gains also would have passed on to others also. So the recovery, 100% recovery is impossible, but definitely if the state government is willing to implement whatever has been said, they can do it. At least 50% of the arms could be recovered, and that could be the part to restoration of peace in the valley at least. And I just would like to respond to Mr. Nandakumar also, that I agree that, and it is a low that law and order situation is a state subject definitely in terms of this. But we have to know that when the state is unable to handle the law and order situation, there is a situation where the center can evaluate and impose mechanisms, different mechanisms as it please to handle the situation. That is why we have more than 60,000 troops in Manipur, additionally being deployed right now. And what have been they doing? And I was able to see the video of security forces, the paramilitary forces being chased by women folks today in one viral video. So where are the powers? They can't do anything without their powers. It's very much unwarranted to say that AFSPA has to be given to them, but certain powers needs to be given to the security forces to restore law and order. Unless they are having certain powers to exercise their mandate, then how will we talk about peace and kind of security in the state? So let's talk about the practicality of things. And unless we look into it practically, then I think that it's impossible to solve the problem. And regarding Moreh, we have been there is so much allegations about the mercenaries. Definitely, this is a border town, and there are possibilities that there can be groups from the other side coming. But unless you gain trust of the local people, how will you control cross-border mercenaries and others? So in order to gain control of the local populace, it is the cookies you should take into confidence.
I think
how will you
Dr. Hawkip, I think you raised a very important. I think that's an important point, because it recalls me after the Poonch incident. I think the message which was given by Defence Minister Rajnath Singh was on the same line. You got to keep the local people on your side. General Sivaj? General Sivaj, am I audible to you?
Yeah, absolutely correct. No doubt about it.
My question to you is that what is applicable to the Kashmir theatre should also be applicable to the Manipur theatre. And I think Rajnath Singh was like bang on. I mean to say, we have a professional army, but I'm not trying to relocate the army issue in Manipur. I'm saying that the larger message was that these important counter-insurgency operations can only succeed if you got your locals by your side. So if it is true for Kashmir and the Poonch and the Rajouri, Bafliaz area, it has to be true for Manipur also, sir.
Absolutely. You see, Kartikeya, no doubt, basic military tenets stands everywhere. No doubt. What the defense minister was trying to convey is that as far as the insurgency is concerned, militant-prone area, militants can't survive in case they do not have a public support. And to go against the terrorists, you need public with you. And that point was conveyed loud and clear. But one has to understand the situation in Jammu and Kashmir is slightly different than what is in Manipur. Now, having what we said, what should be the roadmap now and what is the way ahead? You see, as every one of us is reached to one point that until and these weapons do not come back, the normalcy can never come back to Manipur. For this to come back, you need a three-pronged strategy. One is that you need to seal the border between Myanmar and Manipur, though difficult but not impossible. It has to be done, though there is an understanding of 16 kilometer on the either side. But in case you want this weapon to come back again to the police, you have to now seal this border. You start this combing operation, cordon and search. Wherever there is no Armed Forces Special Power Act, then you have to take the magistrate. But this has to be taken on a war footing that until and unless weapons do not come back, you cannot go to the second step. You are still stuck at number one step only. The second point, which is very important, is yes, you have to win the hearts and mind of the public, and also the take along with you civil society. The civil society will play a major role, as we all are understanding that there is a distrust between communities as well as in the police organization. People of one community do not have faith in a particular force. The people of other community do not have a faith in another force. So that is also creating a sort of misunderstanding also, that it is creating fault line. So my point is that you have to now make sure that you take civil society with you, start that political process together. This multi-pronged strategy has to be together. We cannot think one step and then second step. Maybe that we have to now start. It has been already a long time now when this situation has gone out of hand after 3rd May. Now a time has come that you have to be effective, very effective. And as far as the security forces are concerned, they have to make sure that they are not reactive, they are active. They must carry out a proper analysis of the situation as to how things can build up, and then take action in a manner that in case anything go wrong, they are there only to take a remedial measure. I suppose all these things has to be done together so that we reach to some sort of result. As on today, I am sure the central government is making full effort. It has given a lot of help in terms of security forces. State government is also trying, but why are we not able to succeed in curbing the violence? And that is the reason which we have to now identify and then strike there. I suppose if we do this, that weapons to come back, seal the border, take the social society with you.
But there's a rhinoceros in this. There's a rhinoceros in the room, as it is said. That the rhinoceros in the room, General Srivach, is some of the civil society actors, some of the civil society groups. Mr. Nandakumar, isn't that the reason that civil society actors from multiple sides, instead of getting people together, have created tremendous polarization, and that is why they wield more power than those who have been elected?
Civil societies, they react only when their area of interest or their
I'm saying some civil society actors, some civil society bodies, some, not all, some.
Yeah, I'd like to come in that point. So some they may not be actual civil society organizations, and most of the civil society organizations, CSOs, they come only when the public interest or their survival or their say about economy is in danger. What you are saying is about some they may be appearing as a civil society, but they may not be in fact. They must be posing as a civil society. So coming back to the floating around of arms and ammunition in Manipur, it's not only from 3rd May last year. The floating of arms and ammunition freely in Manipur has been a long history, and all the army retired officers, serving officers would be knowing. In ITs, there have been a very bad law and order situation, but there was no media exposure, so we are not aware, or most of the people in India are not aware. So the arms and ammunition have been a long problem in Manipur. It may be because of various reasons, because of porous border or any other factors. And also, I would say the government of India has not tried to restrict it. Rather than restricting, they try to say pamper them by signing agreements. Like in 2005 or 2008, they have signed a suspension of agreement, a suspension of operation agreement with the arms group. So it's legitimizing the having of plotting of arms in the society. Similarly, not only the suspension operations the government of India has done with other groups also. I am not saying they are doing only with the Kuki groups. They have done with other groups also. So it is the sort of legitimizing the plotting of arms and ammunition in the civil society, which is very bad, which is very dangerous. Why India government has to look and they should take a very strong initiative and action, and they should repeal this such type of policies.
Just stay with me. You know, there is an important part.
Just give me 30 more seconds. Just give me 30 more seconds.
No, I'm not letting go of you. I'm not letting go of you. I'm giving you a talking point. I'll come back to you. I'm giving you a talking point for the last 10 minutes to all my guests. And this talking point comes from the story which has been filed by the PTI. The PTI story says, and I'll come to Suhas first because he wanted to speak. The government plans to end free movement regime with Myanmar to check influx of illegal migrants. The free movement of regime, which allows people residing close to the India-Myanmar border to venture 16 kilometers into each other's territory without visa, will be ended soon, a senior government functionary said to the PTI. 1,643 km long India-Myanmar border, which passes through Mizoram, Manipur, Nagaland and Arunachal Pradesh, currently has FMR. It was implemented in 2018 as part of Act East policy. Under the FMR, every member of the hill tribe who is either a citizen of India or a citizen of Myanmar, who is the resident of any area within 16 kilometers on the either side of the border, can cross over on production of a border pass with 1 year validity and can stay up to 2 weeks per visit. We are going to end the FMR along the Indo-Myanmar border soon. It's quote unquote to the PTI. Your opening your comments on this, Mr. Chakma, because General Sivach was talking about fencing the border. General Sivach, I'll come to you also. Is it workable? Is it a workable solution?
Absolutely not. You go to the Bangladesh border, which has been fenced. You give 100 rupees this side, 100 taka on the other side. You can cross the border. And we are talking about an area which doesn't have any borders. And please remember, in the opposite Manipur is the Sagaing region of Myanmar. And 3 days back, the townships have been taken over by the National Unity Government of Myanmar. So we are dealing with the junta, which no longer controls the border territories. If the government of India wants to make anything effective in the Indo-Myanmar border, then they have to engage in discussions or talks with the insurgent groups and the National Unity Government, which you do not want to do. So we have a situation where on the other side of the border, you will have the junta, you sign the agreement or you remove this. What difference it makes? Because that government, in any case, no longer controls the border areas. So this is a situation which we have not seen in the last 80 years. For the last 80 years, we are dealing with the junta or any form of government which had control over the territories. For the first time, we have a situation where junta has lost vast territories and shall never recover possibly in the next 5 years, 10 years, because at the end of the day, they are resource crunched. They do not have adequate resources. The position of the Chinese. So what are you talking about? It is not going to make a change. The only regrettable thing here is that the government of India has not shown. I think the only issue which will make difference on everything is the political issue, will. Do you have the political will? At this point of time, there is no political will. Otherwise, you can walk out programs. So these are, as General was saying, these are only the symptoms.
Fair enough. Fair enough. Because this is going to be an important development. Biren Singh had spoken about it. The PTI copy has written about it, that he has raised this demand. Dr. Hauke, do you think that it's going to impact the current scenario, doing away with the FMR?
FMR is a recognition of the realities of borderland people, and I am not opposed to giving a pause to this FMR regime for quite some time, because both Manipur and Myanmar side has a law and order situation. But permanently removing these is something, I think, something that is immature right now. We should wait for some time, maybe 3-4 years, to revive this again. But we should put on hold right now due to the law and order situation. I would like to explain a little bit about what Mr. Nandin Kumar has talked about. Basically, Manipur is a hill state. Constitutionally, what the hill state is defined is a different thing. According to Article 371C of the Constitution, you would find that the President of India may declare that a certain area is a hill area or a plain area. So it is the prerogative or the power of the President to declare which foothills or which hill areas or mountains is a hill area. So there is a constitutional provision to that, and we don't have the liberty to say this is a plain area or this is the valley or this is the hill area.
Fair enough.
It is defined in the constitution which is the hill area.
Fair enough. You made the point. Fair enough. You made the point. I'm falling short of time. General Sivach is there. Nand Kumar is there. Brijesh is there. Brijesh, why are they trying to retouch, which is part of the Act East policy?
I think what the government want to send is the government want to send a message that that we are serious about fencing the entire border, and any kind of action. This free movement is also bringing in a lot of unwanted element from destabilized Myanmar into Manipur, which is causing or wreaking havoc with the law and order situation there. But by and large, I agree with what Suhas was saying, that it's all of this is easier said than done. To fence 510 kilometers a border, to make sure that there's enough crackdown to ensure that there's no infiltration, where till now people could freely move up to 16 kilometers of area, sounds very difficult. I think the government should be applying their mind more on finding a political resolution.
Is it going to be like prohibition? Something which happened legitimately will happen.
I mean,
surreptitiously.
It's very difficult to man such a long area. So very difficult.
Okay, General Sivach.
Yeah.
The copy which has come in the Press Trust of India.
Understand that if we think that we cannot seal the border or we cannot put a fence, then we have lost the battle. Imagine that between India and Bangladesh, this border is also stretching almost about 1,500 kilometers. And once upon a time, the influx of the Bangladeshi was so huge. I commanded the units there in Assam, in Dibrugarh, Kokrajhar, Bongaigaon. It was not stopping. Once the fence has been made, no one can say there is a zero infiltration, but it has reduced considerably, and it is a work in progress. You have to refine your strategy in a manner that there is no free flow. There are posts in case if it has to be crossover, there is a mechanism by which it crosses. Now, if we have to take this on a Myanmar-India border, this is a requirement. Government has already decided, because the moment Myanmar is disturbed, you will find the influx of militants coming and mercenary coming this side. So how will you stop it? So every time there is a problem, it will come. So you have to make a fence. It will take 5 years, 7 years, 10 years, but the beginning has to be made. I suppose that we have already made a fence for a small distance to see what will be this impact. That has to be seen. But thinking that this border can't be sealed or no border can't be sealed, all borders in India need to be sealed for future. And this is a requirement day, this is work in progress. But we have to evolve a strategy in a manner that it does not create a disturbance. You have to root. But in this area, until unless you do not stop this movement of people from that side, this side, totally freely, then the militants
so you are saying that
Myanmar will keep on coming.
Okay. So basically you're saying it's a good step, and the state must show the resolve. Mr. Nandakumar, the report that has come out by the PTI?
Yes, let me complete the earlier point regarding the extortion. Extortion will happen as long as armed
first on
groups
FMR, then you can conclude. First on FMR, sir.
Okay, fine. Okay, FMR, see, I absolutely agree with General Sivas. And also, it's not very difficult to protect 400-kilometer long stretch in the Manipur Indo-Myanmar border. If you see one person deploying one person in every kilometer, it works out for 400 persons. So if half a kilometer you are deploying to one person, then it works out 800 border security forces. And along with the modern gadgets like cameras and the surveillance equipments like radars and all, it is very easy to monitor all these border areas, and it should not have any problem. And also, Mr. Jaishankar, who is appreciated by everyone, he and his team would have done a very good homework, which you and we do not have the total absolute report about such this thing analysis. And also, Manipur government would not have a suggestion or advice. It would have in the study of the Ministry of External Affairs led by Mr. Jaishankar, so we should not doubt him. And however difficult, we should make an effort, and it will be successful in near future. So there is no point to discuss here. It has to be done. If External Minister has cited it, this is my viewpoint in this FMR. Secondly, let me complete give me
you only have 40 seconds, sir. 40 seconds. I have to close the show.
I'll take 15 seconds. So about the extortions, extortion will happen either in hills or valleys. Whenever there are armed groups floating around, they will extort, and they are having report in Moreh, Churchanpur, or the Kangpopi or hilly in NH areas where armed groups are exploiting the truck drivers, the businessmen, and all. Similarly, in Nepal, if we do not control the arms group and the law and order are not strict, extortion will happen, and this will continue. It has no relevance with the present crisis.
Okay, I think that's the bottom line. I would say that the sporadic, the unconnected events of violence are connected in a way that is, there has to be a start of the political process. When, how, depends entirely on the government of India and the government of Manipur. But it really needs to start. And the development that has been reported by a wired service on FMR is something which will have geopolitical ramifications between two countries. I don't know how the borders will react, but it's a story on which we'll stay put. So that's all on Point with me.
जानना है तो देखिए, समझना है तो सुनिए, सीखना है तो पूछिए, और कमाना है तो खरीदिए। जानकारी, सलाह और निवेश सब एक ही सुपर ऐप पर। पैसे का सवाल है तो जवाब है Money9। आजादी पैसे की, अभी डाउनलोड करें।
Currently, the industry is facing a lot of challenges as far as demand is concerned. Basically, that US markets has slowed down because of high inflation.
So obviously, diamonds being a dream product, something which doesn't have a utility value or is seen as a luxury. So that obviously goes off your shopping list. That's the first item that will go off your shopping list, especially in recessionary trends.
The lab-grown diamonds are not mined, and they do away with the entire mining. So they save up on all the environmental damage that is associated with mining, and of course, the mining cost, which is why they're even more affordable.
People that is impacted by all these recessions are the artisans, are the people who work in this industry, right? But I think lab-grown diamond has allowed them to actually use their skills in the same product.
This and more streaming on world's first news OTT, News9 Plus. Download now.
It was my 14th birthday.